Hello, everybody, and welcome to this particular session. I believe we are all doing good. And one thing that I might say is that what you're looking here is basically a reset for 2026, right? How to be able to reset our mind for 2026. If you look at 2025, it has been quite an amazing year, there's been quite an year in terms of trading. Of course, as a trader, there are ups and downs. The results that you made, maybe probably for the month of 2025, right? For the year 2025, and you want to be in a position basically to reflect how the year was and how you can be able to plan for 2026, because whatever is not planned is actually a plan to fail. And there is this mantra, 5Ps, which says that prior planning prevents a poor performance. So this is a session, or these are the moments that you want to have some silent time by yourself, review how the year was, and you be honest with yourself. And also you're able to program how the next year or how 2026 is likely going to be, all right? So what you're doing here is basically I'm giving you a way that you can be able to maybe probably reset how you can be able to have this self-evaluation even as you await 2026, because you don't want to jump in 2026 blindly. You want to jump in 2026 with a plan, all right, and a plan of how to navigate through the markets. So in this particular session, basically, we are talking about resetting your mind and preparing for the 2026 trading year, right? So before you start preparing for 2026 trading year, you have to look at how was your 2025, okay? So you have to review how your 2025 was. And basically, this is going to help us in terms of resetting our mental reset, basically our emotional discipline, also looking at our emotional discipline, looking at our strategic clarity as well, which is very important, because a trader's blueprint is always essential, because what it does, having that blueprint, what does is that it helps us to have a fresh start. And for this particular case, we are looking at a fresh start for 2026. Okay, so why a mental reset is non-negotiable, right? So the reason why a mental reset is non-negotiable, you need to understand that market change, but psychology determines the survival. So the markets, of course, they are static. I mean, they are dynamic, all right, and they keep changing. Market conditions keep changing. This year, we had seen quite some volatile markets from the tariffs, which really caused a lot of havoc, a lot of volatility in the financial markets. We have also been able to see the Fed ease the rates by at least three times. Now. That is 75 basis point for year 2025. And the markets have been volatile. The markets have been able to react to this. We have seen the geopolitical tensions as well, especially this year. The most intensified one was Israel and Gaza, right, and Iran as well. And we saw the markets as well skyrocket. We saw the market react to this. So what you need to understand is the market change, but your psychology will determine your survival. And the reason why, even as you're reviewing this, one of the aspects that you want to check is your psychological muscles, right? By now, you should have grown your psychological muscles, even though this is a continuous learning process. There is no single day, maybe probably that we can say that we have mastered psychology 100%. This is something that you keep on improving each and every day. Okay, so and again, you need to understand that carrying emotional baggage definitely leads to repeated mistakes. So if you are going to carry those emotional baggage for 2025 to 2026, what it means is that you will keep repeating those mistakes, all right, the mistakes that you did in 2025. So there will be no continuous improvement. Basically, you'll be gallivanting or rotating within the same the same level. I know a mantra of whereby we call this the spirit of tethering, whereby when you tie maybe probably a cow or a goat, it will eat on the radius of that particular rope, how far the rope can be able to stretch, and that's the grazing zone. So basically, you find that it's basically a circle. There is no expansion, there is no growth, and that's what I call a tethering spirit. So you'll find yourself repeating those mistakes, meaning that you're not growing at all, at all. Okay, so and therefore, what you need to understand is that 2026 basically requires a sharper, calmer, and more intentional trader. So you have to train yourself to be sharp. Sharp meaning that you have to enhance your skills. You have to enhance your learning. You have maybe probably to fine tune your strategy. Okay, you have to be calm in the markets, because again, the market aids people who are impatient. Because if you're not calm, therefore you are impatient. You have a lot of impatience, and you might end up taking trades prematurely. All right. So also the year 2026 needs a person or a trader who is more intentional, right? So you have to be more intentional in terms of what you want to achieve in 2026, right? Maybe probably if you're looking at building your skill in 2026, maybe probably you're looking at maybe probably increasing your profitability in 2026. So you have to be really intentional, right? You have to be really intentional about it, right? So the key thing here that I'm talking about, all right, is that you really don't start new trading here with an old mindset. So the reason why there has to be a renewing of your mindset. And how can you be able to renew your mindset is basically through an evaluation. Because if you don't evaluate, right, if you don't evaluate, therefore it means you don't have any basis to be able to start maybe to be able to measure yourself in terms of progress. All right, so make sure you don't start with a new you don't start a new trading here 2026 with an older mindset. Okay, so then it is important to look at closely look at the 2025 trading chapter. So you have to look at how your 2025 trading year was, right? And the first thing that, even as you look at it, you need to accept that wins and losses, right? You need to accept wins and losses without any emotions, right? I know both of them comes with emotions, especially losses. They come with a lot of emotions. So you have to look at them being very neutral, no emotions attached, so that now you can be able to use the losses as a learning point or learning data. You're able to evaluate the reasons why maybe probably you lost, and you are in a better position to be able to rectify those mistakes. As well as wins, don't beat your chest because of the wins. Probably it was a very profitable year 2025. You need not to start beating your chest, calling yourself the gods of the market. Basically, you have to be neutral in terms of the outcome. So if it was profitable here, that doesn't mean that now you have cracked the code. All right, so look at the things you can be able to do now in 2026. Okay, so if your 2025 was profitable, look at the things that you can be able to do in 2026, additional things, maybe probably to increase your winning rate. Let's say maybe probably your winning rate was 20% for the year 2025, which is not bad, because that means at least you made something. So your winning rate was at least high, or you made some profit. So look at the things you can be able to do so that you can be able to increase your winning rate or your profitability curve. All right. So, and that's what I'm calling continuous improvement. Right. So the other thing which is very important is you need to stop reliving missed trades and blown accounts. I always see, even this year, I've seen some traders saying that they have really missed a lot of good setups, especially on gold, maybe. And the moment you start saying that, there is, it's more of like a regret or something, right? Even the same thing happens when you have a blown account. Let's say maybe probably a blown account 2025. Okay, so what you need to do is to study the reasons why you've blown these accounts, right? So, and the moment you study, you identify the reasons why you blew the account, at least you're able to do something. You're able to put your best foot forward and rectify some of these mistakes. And therefore, you're able to increase to soften the journey or increase your profitability or sharpen your profitability, your equity curve. All right. So stop reliving missed trades and the blown accounts. So don't look at the past. All right. So focus on the future. The past may be for data, right, which is going to help you to be able to forecast the future. Right. So that is very significant. Also, you need to separate identity. All right. So you need to separate identity from results. Okay, so make sure you identify, you separate identity from results. And a simple exercise here that can be able to help you is that look at the year 2025. Write down your biggest 2025 trading regret. Right, write down your year 2025, the biggest trading regret in 2025, and also write one lesson extracted from that biggest trading regret. Okay, and now you're able to start learning. When you're doing that, now you're trying to understand yourself, you're trying to see on the areas that you can be able to improve on. All right. So then the other thing is auditing your trading psychology. It is very important to audit your trading psychology. Okay, so and when you're doing this, basically, you can ask yourself a set of questions, because when you're auditing yourself, you have to question yourself. All right. Some of the questions that you can be able to ask yourself is that do I overtrade when bored or emotionally? Right. So, and you have to be truthful to yourself. You have to be very honest to yourself when answering these questions, because you want to get the true picture. Right. You want to get the true picture. Okay. So the other question you can ask yourself: do I break rules after a losing streak? Right. Because you have seen people, once they have a losing streak, they start a revenge trading, and of course, the revenge trading it doesn't end up well. Right. So you'll end up breaking those rules. Even revenge trading itself is that you're breaking the trading rules, because you're not following what your trading plan says you do. Right. I believe no one here who has a trading plan that says the moment you have a losing streak, you break the rules. Right. I believe none. Okay. So the other question you can ask yourself is that do I chase confirmation instead of probabilities? All right. So do you chase confirmation instead of probabilities? Okay. So these questions are basically the reason why you're asking yourself this question, the big goal is to be able to identify your behavioral patterns and not market patterns. So the moment, remember here, we are refining our mindset for 2026. So what is important here is your behavioral patterns, and these patterns you keep on repeating them as a trader. Right. So you have to identify this behavioral pattern and see whether they are working for your advantage or for your disadvantage, so that now you can be able to know whether to correct them or maybe probably to build more on them. Okay. So the other thing that is very important as well is to be able to redefine what success means. I don't know, maybe to different people success means something different, or we might all have different definitions for success. But the whole definition for success is basically in terms of monetary value, because you might ask yourself, how much money did I make today? Right. That's maybe probably a way for you to measure success in terms of monetary value. Okay. So but I want us to shift that from the monetary value and focus on the process. All right. And the new definition that will be defining success will be maybe looking at your trading rules. All right. So you can ask yourself, did I follow my rules? All right. Did I manage risk correctly? Did I stay emotionally neutral? Right. Because the mantra here is basically process over profits. All right. So because we know the profits follow the process, so if the process is not well defined, if the process is not very well researched and backed up system, therefore profits will not be able to generate. So the reason why I always say first focus on the process, and the process basically means learning. The process basically means looking at the psychological pitfalls, improving them. And the moment you're able to fine tune the process, or the moment you're able to enhance the process, then profits are able to follow you, right? So money, the skill, once you master the skill, money will be able to follow. Okay. So the other thing that is very important is to be able to rebuild our trading confidence the right way. Maybe probably at some point we took trades that maybe probably really affected our trading psychology, all right? And you find that maybe probably our confidence was deterred, all right? So how do we build trading confidence, all right? How do we build trading confidence? Okay, so some of the things or some of the ways to build trading confidence the right way, you need to understand that you need to be in a point to understand that confidence does not come from big wins, right? First of all, you have to understand confidence does not come from big wins, and also confidence does not come from lot size increases, all right? That is not confidence, all right? So confidence basically comes from repetition, right? So you have the patterns that you have identified that are working in your favor, right? So repeating those patterns, right? Looking at those chart patterns, how they repeat themselves, and you being able to recognize them and repeating them consistently all over time. That is what basically confidence is. Okay. So rule adherence also. Confidence comes from rule adherence because you are following your rules, right? And the moment you are following your rules, doing the right way, executing trades that are A plus setup, then that helps build the confidence. Okay. And the other one is data backed execution, right? The moment you're going to execute a trade, all right, maybe probably you've been able to back test your strategy, which you should be, by the way. You should have back tested your strategy, and that is backed by data, past data, right? And then you find that your strategy is highly maybe high it has a high winning probability, and therefore we can say that strategy is data backed, right? So it's always good to confirm. Not all trading setups that form in the market that are yours to trade. Okay, so you have to filter these trades, all right? You have to filter these trades, and some of the way to filter is having what we call a plus setup. Okay, so the goal here is basically for you or for us as traders to focus on becoming consistent executor and not a hero trader. Okay, so you're not looking at yourself being a hero trader, but you are looking at you being in a point that you can be able to grow the consistency, right? You can be able to grow consistently, right? So the other thing is basically resetting your risk mindset, because this is another aspect that is very critical when it comes into trading. So how are you able to reset your risk mindset? That is maybe probably the big question. So risk is basically the cost of doing business, all right? So when you're taking a trade, there is a specific amount of dollars that you say maybe probably you're risking this, maybe $10, maybe $20, and this should not exceed 2% of your account. Okay, so and you need to understand that every trade is independent, all right? Every trade is independent. Okay, so whether you lost a previous trade, or maybe you won a previous trade, it is very dependent. The trade that you are going to take is very independent from your past performance. Okay, so and then what you need to understand is that losses are planned and not personal. Okay, how do I mean losses are planned? Because someone might ask me, how do I plan for losses? Okay, so remember, trading is in probabilities. All right, you have to look at it in probabilities. The trade can have two outcomes, either a winning trade or a losing trade. So how do you plan for a loss? Or how a loss is planned? This is whereby the amount that you're risking by yourself, right? That is what you have planned. In case this trade goes for a loss, basically you have planned to lose $20. You have planned to lose $10. Okay, so and don't take them personal. Remember, we say the losses are tuition fees. Losses are data points that can be able to help you basically be in a point whereby you can be able to learn and improve with time. Okay, so that you can be able to learn and improve with the time. So in 2026, therefore, with that understanding, one of the rules that you can talk about here is that you can tell yourself that you're going to risk small enough to be able to stay emotionally calm. All right, so look at it this way, right? You want to risk small enough so that you can be emotionally calm, and also so that you can be able to stay in this game for long, because you don't want to go all in, full margin, high risk, and then you end up blowing account, because what happens is that you'll be blowing one account after another. So yours will be depositing. So you're not making any withdrawals, right? And that can be very, very discouraging. So what you need to understand that if a loss hurts emotionally, if you take a loss and you feel hurt emotionally, therefore you need to understand how to evaluate that trade, because the risk will be too high. You will have taken a high risk, maybe more than 2%, and that will definitely have to hurt you emotionally. Okay, so if it's a planned risk, therefore it should not really hurt you emotionally. Rather, you should be in a point whereby you can be able to analyze why you took that loss, see whether it was your mistake or maybe the market conditions changed, and you are able to know to come up with ways on how to be able to prevent that in the future. Okay, so the other thing that I'll really emphasize is you detach yourself from the outcomes. All right, you detach yourself from the outcome, because the moment you're going to attach yourself to the wins, it might lead to overconfidence. The reason you're going to attach yourself to losses, it might lead to fear, right? And all these are psychological mistakes that traders make. Okay, so you need to understand that you as a trader, you are in control of your execution, not the outcome. Okay, so by the time you're going to execute that trade, you should have analyzed that trade and seen this is a plus setup. It has met all the criteria that is laid down in my trading plan, right? And therefore, from there, you execute the trade with proper risk management and everything that needs to be confirmed so that you can execute the trade. From there, you just need to know that you are not in control of the outcomes. All right, the trade can be profitable trade, the trade can be a losing trade, and the moment you understand that, therefore you need to always ensure that you have a proper risk management, because you're not in control of the outcome. Okay, so also you need to understand that the market owes you nothing, right? The market owes you nothing. Okay, so don't go with revenge mentality that you have to make $1,000 in the market. It owes you nothing. All right, the market really owes you nothing. Then you need to understand that one trade means nothing in a series of 100. Okay, so if you lose one trade, that means nothing in a series of 100. If you win one trade, that means nothing in a series of 100. What do I mean? So if you lose one trade, that doesn't invalidate your strategy, right? If you win one trade, that doesn't mean that you've become a profitable trader. And remember, I've always told you, if you want to know your hedge, whether you are profitable, look at your first 100 trades, right? Don't just look at a sample of one trade, two trades, three trades. No, just take a sample of 100 trades that you have executed and see whether you are profitable or maybe probably you are losing, right? So this is very important. We need to have that mental shift, right? We need to have that mental shift in 2016 from I must win to I must execute correctly, because I've seen traders who come with that mental ideologies that they have to win in this particular trade, and the moment they lose in that trade, then it hinders them even more emotionally, all right, or psychologically, and they get really, really affected. So you have to shift from that mental perspective, from I must win to I must execute correctly. So your work as a trader in 2026 is to execute these trades correctly, confirming with your trading plan that this trade has met all my criteria, entry criterias and everything, risk management, all those criterias. And then now that is what we are saying, executing correctly. Again, I remind you, you are not in charge of the outcome. You're only in charge of the execution, right? And the reason why you should execute correctly. So in 2026, right, in 2026, you need to create a trader identity, right? If you want to excel in 2026, you have to create what I call a trader identity. So to create a trader's identity, ask yourself, all right, what type of trader do I want to be in 2026? A gambler, a trader who is patient, executing correctly, right? So this is up to you to choose, right? So ask yourself, what type of trader do I want to be in 2026? And I believe all of us want to be a successful trader, a profitable trader. Okay, so some of the examples, like I said, maybe probably you want to be a trader who is calm under pressure, all right? You want to be a trader who is selective and not impulsive, meaning that before you execute the trades, you are very selective in terms of making this A plus setup, and you're not guided by quantity. You are not impulsive in your trading, right? You may choose to be a data driven trader and not emotional driven, right? So all these are for us to choose. So you need to identify drives. The reason why we are looking at this, why we are identifying the kind of trader we want to be. Basically, identity helps to drive behavior, all right? Or identity drives the behaviors, all right? So if identity drives behavior, then you need to understand that behavior drives results. So it is identity that drives behaviors, and behavior drives results. So again, I ask you, what type of a trader do you want to be in 2026? Okay, what type of a trader do you want to be in 2026? All right. So then the other important thing that you need to look at is to be able to design a simple mental routine that is going to help you now to have that mental or mindset shift, right? Or mental calmness in your trading. Okay, so, and an example, maybe probably you can talk about, you can have maybe a pre-market routine that is maybe probably when you wake up in the morning, you have to analyze the markets, mark your zones, your entries, where you want the price, to come to. And that is a pre-market routine. Okay, that is an example of a pre-market routine. So before entry, maybe probably you can confirm rules through your checklist. Make sure that as a trader, it's always good to have a checklist. A checklist is basically a simple list of 5 to 6, maybe probably questions that you have to check all of them before you take a trade, and they have to confirm all of them. If one of the, maybe the questions is not rhyming in terms of up, it's not a setup trade. Okay, so that is very significant. Then after session, maybe probably you can do a quick emotional journal. So journal how you felt when the trade was running. Make sure you journal that, because again, it helps you to understand your psychological pitfalls. All right, and the moment you understand your psychological pitfalls, then you're in a place whereby you can be able to um, um, rectify that as early as possible. Okay, so remember, consistency is more important than complexity. So you want something that is not really complex. All right, I've always said that your trading strategy should be not much complicated. It should not actually be complicated, and it should help you to become consistency in your trading, right? So the other thing is basically how to set psychological goals for 2026. So you need to set those goals, the psychological goals for 2026. Okay, so, and some of the psychological goals, maybe probably you can set is in terms of the psychological mistakes that you make. Okay, so maybe probably if you you find yourself breaking some of the rules, especially in 2025, you have done an audit and you realize that there are some rules that you break when trading. So you can maybe probably have a goal, a psychological goal, like maybe probably break 0 rules for 30 days. That will help you to become consistency. So you have to make sure that in the next 30 days, you are not going to break any rules. And the moment you do that, remember they say if you repeat an action for 21 days, it becomes a behavior. So you'll get used to that. So if you don't break your rules for 30 days, then even past 30 days, higher chances that you might not break those rules. Another example is maybe probably you can mention about reducing over trading, maybe by 50%, by 80%, by 90%, depending on how, maybe if you're this kind of a person who has been over trading. So you have to have rules, a goal like that, maybe reducing over trading by 50%, 80%, or whichever percentage. Okay. So then you have to have a goal. If you're this kind of a person who doesn't maybe probably accept the outcome, so you need to have a goal like accept losses without revenge trading. So if you're a kind of a person, anytime you have losses, you have to revenge trade, you want to recover those losses, you don't want to sleep with the losses, then you should have this kind of a goal that you need to accept losses without revenge trading. Okay. So also a goal like tracking behavior, a goal, you can have a goal like this, track behavior, like you track your P&L. I know most of us, majority of us, we track the profit and loss. All right. But I would want to encourage you to also track behavior the same way you track the P&L, because the moment you understand your behavior, those behavioral patterns that we have talked about, the moment you understand them, therefore, you are able to look at what works in your favor and what doesn't work in your favor, and you're able to capitalize on what works on your favor, and whatever doesn't work on your favor, you look at ways that you can be able to rectify or to improve. Okay. So, and then there is the final thing, right? The final thing basically is to be able to check that everything is in place. All right, check that everything is in place. So your psychology, your strategy, and your risk management, those three components, they have to be in place, right? I know in this video I've concentrated more about the mind, right, which is more of the psychological aspect. Again, remember, trading psychology is 80% of your trading, right? So new year is equals to clean slate, which is equals to clear mind. Okay, new year is equals to clean slate, which is equals to clear mind, right? And also you need to understand that discipline beats motivation, right? Discipline beats motivation. So I might be here to motivate you. I might do a lot of motivational videos telling you that yes, you can make it, you can make it, you can do it, but it will be in vain if you yourself, you're not disciplined. So the reason why I said it has to begin from yourself. You have to be very honest with yourself. What do you want in 2026? What are the mistakes you did in 2025? How can I be able to rectify these mistakes come 2026? Okay, so you have to really be honest with yourself so that you can be able to see results, right? So the trader you become in 2026, start with how you think, right? The trader you become in 2026, start with how you think. So are you thinking, or are you seeing yourself? Are you thinking in terms of success? Right? Are you thinking that at some point you'll be successful? Are you thinking at some point, maybe probably, you'll be profitable? So it all begins from our mind, how we think, right? So the reason why we talk about positive affirmations, right? The reason why we talk about positive affirmations, and these are maybe probably, to put in another way, they are more of promises. If you look at the Bible has um, laws, which are the commandments. It also has the promises, right? And it also has the principles. Okay, principles is like tithing. You have to tithe so that you can be able to have more, right? Or you have to give so that you can receive more. Okay, so laws are like the commandments. Don't steal, don't commit adultery, all right? And promises, these are the things that we have already been promised, and they are ours to claim. I will be the head and not the tail, right? I am more than a conqueror, right? Those are the promises that you need also to translate in your trading. Start thinking in terms of victory. Start seeing yourself in terms of being a successful trader, right? So, and as I close this, what I can say is that I'll give you a very simple quote: master the mind, and the market becomes manageable. So the moment you're able to master your mind, then your the markets or your trading becomes manageable. Okay, your trading becomes very much manageable. Okay, so I believe this was informative, and I believe that you are able to get one or two things that you can be able to do in terms of helping you to improve your trading strategy, right? Or maybe probably how you think your mind in terms of 2026. And in case you have any questions, anything that you might want me to talk about, put it in the comment section. Let me know whether this video really touched you, if it has been able to help you to look at trading in a different way come 2026. And all I can say as I wind up, I wish you a very fruitful 2026. Make sure that you plan ahead, because whatever is planned, whatever is not planned is actually a plan to fail. All right. And I believe all of us here, we don't want to fail. We want to succeed. So make sure that you take some time this holiday in December, not January. You have to do this in the month of December. All right. So take some time, evaluate yourself, and see how 2025 has been, and also now start planning for 2026. Okay, so with that, I wish you the very best. Nice holidays, enjoy your Christmas, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and see you in 2026.